And in sports, Nanda FC says they will fight to the end tomorrow. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbo. First, the national news. One person was killed after being attacked by machetes, and 6 others from Mikocheni area in Moshi district were seriously injured after being attacked by herders from the Maasai community during a land conflict.
Tukapata taarifa kutoka ngazi za juu kwamba nani hapo panatakiwa pagaiwe wale watu waliopata shida ya maji.
We heard information from high authority that this place was to be given to those who are experiencing water problems, and it was agreed. But surprisingly, this is not happening, and some of us have been bitten. The person responsible for this is the Maasai fellow from Mirerani. He brought cattle. The Maasai community here doesn't own any cattle. Only one Maasai had some, and he was peaceful.
The
exercise that was initially started has now been stopped. We must not go there first, but everyone must give a statement. We have land experts with us. It shall come to light whichever side is in the wrong.
Tanzania People's Defense Force, TPDF, has said that it is well prepared to defend the country from all enemies, both physical and economic, especially as the country is implementing a strategic plan towards a middle-income economy.
The economy of Tanzania has been strengthened under the leadership of the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, and we should not expect our enemies to be happy about this. Hence the need to train to protect what is being done by Honorable President. My position as an army officer is to be prepared to fight the enemy, be it from inside or outside the country.
Musa Abu Jumbe Mwinyi, the son of the former second phase president of Zanzibar, the late Abu Jumbe Mwinyi, has also come forward to vie for the presidential nomination through Chama cha Mapinduzi CCM party. As forms continue to be collected, more aspirants have begun to return their forms, including former minister during Amani Abeid Karime's government, Shamsi Vuai Nahoda.
Today I've come to pick up a form according to Chama cha Mapinduzi party guidelines. I know that before me there are many who came in order to get approval from the party, and thereafter to get approval from the people of Zanzibar.
The government has said that Tanzania has succeeded in controlling the illicit drug trade by 90%, but that more needs to be done to address the problem of glue sniffing, especially among children living in difficult conditions. Now, this was said in Dodoma by the Minister of State, Vice President's Office, Policy, Parliament, Labor, Youth, Employment and People with Disabilities, Janissa Mhagama, during International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drugs Trafficking.
Dawa ya cocaine imeweza kukamatwa.
Cocaine weighing 58.46 kilograms and 635.57 kilograms of heroin. This is the amount of illegal drugs that has been confiscated during this period. We did not just confiscate the drugs, but suspects amounting to 73,920 involved in the illegal business were also arrested during this period of 5 years. 480,000 liters and 22,145 kilograms of chemicals were brought into the country without following regulations. We've decided to conduct a cleanup operation in difference within our community to change the perception of drug users in the community. I received treatment and responded well. I'm grateful that from the training I received, I now know that there is no good that comes from using drugs.
The ongoing destruction of roads being done by large lorries carrying heavy cargo taken to one of the houses where a Chinese national lives at Avocado Street in Kawe area, Dar es Salaam region, taking a new turn after Tanzania Rural and Urban Roads Agency TARURA and the National Environment Management Council NEMC intervened to inspect and evaluate the damage caused to the road.
My people have gone to inspect the area, and this afternoon we've not seen any vehicles passing in that area. We will continue to patrol at night, and any vehicle that will be passing there, then the matter will be addressed according to the law. He will be required to invest in the project in any area that he's been given according to the law. What we're going to do is to check if he has all relevant permits, so as to assist him and the community in order to avoid conflict.
Now, the government, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Tanzania Research Institute, TARI, has set strategic plans to ensure a lasting solution is found to the sugar and edible oil shortage in the country.
Nchi ndogo yenye eneo dogo kama Uganda.
A small country with limited land like Uganda, which in the past we used to produce more than they did, now they are producing 500,000 tons of sugar per annum. And this time around, Tanzania had purchased sugar from Uganda, when we have plenty of fertile land and manpower. So we must have a plan to address this problem so that we can have adequate supply of sugar. Private companies are allowed to get seeds from the ministry so that they can produce seeds in bulk and distribute them to farmers. Today, different stakeholders have met so that we can bring a revolution to agriculture, so farmers can move from subsistence to commercial farming.
The police force in Dar es Salaam Special Zone has killed 2 robbers in 2 different incidents in the city and has also detained 5 people alleged to be involved in theft of cars, which they are said to sell in other regions.
Jeshi la polisi kanda lilifanikiwa kuzima tukio.
The police force managed to stop a criminal act by use of force from happening, which had been planned to take place in money shops. Before the 3 criminals could carry out the crime, the police force was tipped and set a trap. Once the criminals realized that a trap had been set, they started to fire at the police. The police then had to fire back, and one of the criminals was killed.
Hundreds of residents of Shabaka Ward, Nyangwale district in Geita region alleged to have invaded Nyanze, a natural forest reserve, and set up permanent residences, as well as conducting farming and livestock keeping activities, have been directed to demolish their houses and leave the area within 7 days, a directive that has been opposed by the residents.
They came and demanded to know the owner. Then they said that we only have 2 weeks to vacate.
Tunatumia nguvu kubwa kama wizara.
As a ministry, we've put a lot of effort in preventing this from happening, but education is key. Nonetheless, we must protect the forest.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. And in international news, thousands of Burundians lined the road to the capital Gitega as the body of former President Pierre Nkurunziza was escorted for a state funeral. Nkurunziza, who ruled the country for almost 15 years, died at the age of 55 of what the government said was heart failure. Tanzania was represented by Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa at the funeral.
Honestly, the nation has lost a good leader. May we all remain strong at these difficult times. For us who are left behind, let us take a moment and evaluate ourselves to have a good ending in this world.
The Ministry of Health in Kenya has confirmed 149 more positive coronavirus cases, bringing the total number of infections to 5,533. Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman said 3,090 samples were tested within the last 24 hours.
We have 149 people who have tested positive from a sample size of 3,090 tested over the past 24 hours, which now brings our total number of confirmed cases in the country to 5,533 out of a cumulative number of 158,404 that we have tested.
Health governance in our country is a process of shared responsibility between both the national and county governments as per our Constitution 2010. Therefore, in the process, county governments and their readiness to respond to new imported cases of infection will also equally largely determine our national readiness to reopen the country as a whole.
Residents in areas most affected by the coronavirus pandemic in Kicukiro and Nyarugenge in Kigali, Rwanda, have been banned from leaving their homes for the next 15 days. The lockdown measures are being implemented in order to prevent the further spread of infections in other parts of Kigali.
The number of new cases is increasing day by day. People must be serious in taking precautions against a spread of the virus, because without putting in extra efforts, we might also find ourselves in a lockdown.
As Uganda joins other countries around the world in marking Anti-Narcotics Day, the Security Department in Uganda has announced war on those involved in the illicit drugs trade as well as users of narcotics.
Some of those districts.
5 districts are prone in farming the narcotics in the country. Thus, we have increased our operation efforts in those areas to make sure that the plants are destroyed. Again, we have found out that there are dealers who have begun processing the narcotics in making edible items like sweets, which are mostly eaten by young students.
And that is the end of international news. Business news follows next.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digital digitalization. Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services. And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production. Infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. The Minister of State, Prime Minister's Office for Investment, Angela Karuki, has directed Tanzania Investment Center TIC in the Southern Highlands to register local investors with big industries so that they can also benefit from opportunities accessed by foreign investors.
You have not yet registered with Tanzania Investment Center. Thus, I call on scheme manufacturers to come forward and register yourselves so that we could find means of supporting local investors. Although we constructed the road that leads to the factory, unfortunately the efforts are not enough. Thus, we are calling on renovations on this road that heads to the factory, as well as connect Luthoto School.
Farmers in Mvomero district in Morogoro region have increased rice production due to use of modern farming practices. This was revealed during an evaluation of a project aimed at preventing rice harvest loss.
In order to get good harvests, superstitious beliefs were involved, without knowing that fertilizer, regular follow-ups are key in getting marvelous yields, as well as harvesting on time with adhering to right storage facilities. Farmers have no sureties of getting the loans. Again, there is a challenge of reaching out to many people, especially in rural areas. It is not true that farmers are not in a position to be given loans, but rather solutions must be found so that farmers can get access to these loans.
Tanzania Bureau of Standards has said that it is committed to ensure high-quality standards are adhered to by local industries so that they can get a reliable market for their products on the African continent.
It is important that people know the value of quality in sustainable economy of Tanzania and Africa at large.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows shortly.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lim.
Welcome back, and in sports news. Ndanda FC head coach says his squad will fight to the end to make sure they acquire 3 points when they face struggling young Africans tomorrow.
I'll miss a few players like Vitalis, who had a problem, and the doctors are working on him. If he wakes up well, he will play. If he won't be there, there are players who can play, because we've already played 2 games without him and succeeded. So the team does not depend on a single player.
The government has been urged to employ sports teachers, including in order to increase the development of the sector in the country.
That sports teachers are those who studied sports, because putting teachers who did not study sports is a sign of biasness, such as when the ward manager has relations with a teacher and then tell him to just go there.
It has taken 30 years, 58 days, and the return from a 3-month lockdown caused by a global pandemic. But finally, Liverpool are champions of England once again.
The club's 19th championship and first of the Premier League era was confirmed after Manchester City's 2-1 defeat to Chelsea. An emphatic defeat of Crystal Palace on Wednesday put them within 2 points of the title, but that proved academic after City's sleep at Stamford Bridge. The now deposed Premier League champions trailed their successes by a remarkable 23 points with 7 matches remaining and will be expected to provide a guard of honor when the 2 clubs meet at the Etihad Stadium next Thursday. Guards of honor are traditional, not compulsory, and require the agreement of all parties. Jurgen Klopp watched the City game at Formby Hall Golf Club together with the players as Liverpool clinched the crown that has eluded them since Kenny Dalglish led the club to its last championship on 20th of April 1990.
Pep Guardiola believes Liverpool's incredible focus on ending their 30-year title drought was the decisive factor in Jurgen Klopp's side ending Manchester City's reign as champions. Here are more details.
City fell to an 8th league defeat of the season at Stamford Bridge after a penalty from Willian secured a 2-1 victory for Chelsea after Christian Pulisic had opened the scoring in the first half. Kevin De Bruyne's free kick briefly ignited hopes that the visitors could keep the title race alive, but Fernandinho's dismissal for a deliberate handball finally ended their resistance in the second half. Guardiola congratulated Liverpool on their title, but admitted his side have lacked consistency over the course of the season.
Mikel Arteta acknowledged Arsenal have endured 2 difficult weeks after securing his first away win in the Premier League win with a 2-0 victory at Southampton.
Goals from Eddie Nketiah and a first Premier League goal for his fellow academy graduate Joe Willock ensured Arsenal moved back into the top half of the table with 7 matches still remaining, having lost their first 2 matches after the restart to Manchester City and Brighton. Arteta admitted that he was relieved to end that poor sequence and praised his players for their reaction. Southampton's Jack Stevens was sent off for bringing down Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang just before Willock extended Arsenal's lead, and Arteta also praised the influence of the former captain Granit Xhaka in midfield.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimba. Thank you for watching and good night.
You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
are very many international organizations in the country.
Governments all around the world must collect taxes.
Could be any country in the world, and we only get to hear what they do in Tanzania.
Agriculture, in my view, is one of the main perspectives for
our embassies and high commission operate in Tanzania and how Tanzania can benefit from the presence of this organization, of these embassies in the country. And you can only catch it on the Monday Agenda, which is aired every Monday 8:45 to 9:30 here on Capital Television. Stay tuned.
Na habari za wakati huu, mtazamaji wa ITV Superbrand Afrika Mashariki, lakini pia ambao natusikiliza kupitia Radio 1 pamoja na Capital Radio. Nawe pia ambao tufuatilia kupitia YouTube ITV Tanzania pamoja na Facebook ITV Tanzania, ni kualiki katika malumbano ya hoja siku huu leo. Tuzungumzie mambo mengi ambayo tumeyafumbata kwa siku hii leo, ambapo hii leo tutatazama kupungua kasi ya utoaji wa taarifa dhidi ya mapambano ya biashara ya dawa za kulevya. Je, mamlaka na wadau wamezidiwa mbinu na wanaojihusisha na biashara hiyo? Na mada ambayo tumeweka mezani kwa siku hii ya leo. Kuongozea malumbano wa hoja, mimi ni Maulidi Kambaya, na hii leo wageni wetu ambao tuko nao, tupo na Dr. Peter Mfisi, kamishna wa kinga na tiba kutoka